At this time, I'd like to introduce Jim McHugh. Jim is a Vietnam-era veteran and has been around the world on an aircraft carrier while serving the United States Navy from 1970 to 1973. He served under the rank of Petty Officer Third Class and was a recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, Good Conduct Medal. And following his military service, Jim has worked as a contractor with the government and with Veteran Affairs. He's very active with our Veterans Court program as a mentor. We'd like to step right over to the podium. Put it right there. Jim, thank you for your service. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Veterans may hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone please stand for a moment of silence. Our community has had a horrible loss this past week. Our state representative, Sid Michael Kovulich, to all of us was Sid, one of the most heartwarming, caring, loving, family man, community-oriented, give the shirt off his back person passed away much too early in life. He should have been around for a long time, and he had so much more stuff that he had to do. And I'd just like to have a moment of silence for Sid, and please keep his family and his friends and our community in our thoughts and our prayers, because he just was just an incredible man. And I know we all love him, and we're all going to miss him. And I know that if anybody's at the pearly gates standing there right now this second, it's definitely him. Moment of silence. Also, I'd like to just have a moment of silence for Sergeant Terrence Crawway. He's from the Florence Police Department in South Carolina. He was shot and killed while responding to assist in a shootout while serving a sexual assault warrant at a house. Mr. Crawway had a family, and his family has deep loss and deep sorrow at this time. I'd like to keep him because our police department, our first responders, are our first line of defense. And please keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you. I'd like to bring this Wednesday, October 17th, Board of Commissioners meeting to order at 10:05 a.m. in the Commissioners' Conference Room. I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the minutes of the past meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only.
Have you recovered from the marathon yet, Pat?
I was able to step up on the platform, so I was okay.
And that
He's still
Joan-
alive.
Joan Hodawan, it's Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yeah, that last few blocks, they weren't too bad.
I knew the end was coming.
Anybody that crosses the finish line is a winner, as far as I'm concerned. Two things. One, with regard to the payables, on page 12, I see an expense for Myers, Breyer, and Kelly of $45,198.21. I assume that's for legal fees for the prison?
Yes.
Do we have a grand total? Since we last quoted, it was approximately $579,000.
Tom Durkin's office, we can get you that.
Okay, because last time it was 579,000 or that vicinity, so this pushes
be over
it up
600.
past 600,000.
She might not know that.
Okay, and the only other thing I'd like to ask about is 18-0209, the multimodal transportation grant application for the Radisson. I understand, I use that bus stop on occasion, so I understand that wall falling down and how dangerous that bus stop is. But what I'm not really sure of is, why is an entity like the Radisson in need of taxpayer money, which a grant ultimately is, it's taxpayer dollars, when we little people, when we have to renovate our homes and our apartments, whatever, we don't get a grant. You know, we have to save and go to work and, you know, pay for it out of our hides. I just, you know, I mean, I agree that, you know, this will improve Lackawanna Avenue and the economic vitalization and yada, yada, yada. But an entity like the Radisson, you know, they must be making bucks somewhere. You know, why do they qualify for a grant when little people who may be losing their homes go into blight? What is offered them? So when that comes up, I'd like the speaker, who is it? Let's see.
George
Kelly.
Yeah, Commissioner, just on that,
comment
Mr. Kelly can address that, but I believe the Radisson doesn't own the wall. I believe the wall is actually in the public right-of-way.
Is it part of public right-of-way?
That I believe so. George can address that, but I believe
Okay,
that's why we're
because
getting the grant.
it always appears to be part of the Radisson, but still, you know.
I believe
mean,
it, John, at one time it was part of the Radisson, but I think the state took it when they redid the roadway there, coming through there. But George can address that later.
Yeah, well, it says addendum number 1, multimodal Radisson, 2018. So it's part of their overall, I think, plan. But it just bothers me that we see many grants for developers and other people, and I've never seen anything comparable for the ordinary citizen. This is my comment.
With you, Joan.
Joan, I'd like for you to stay there for just a second. October 7th was my 23rd Steamtown Marathon. I completed all 23 of them.
Yeah.
And it was
Yay.
it was a really tough undertaking. I did it on behalf of my sister Margie, who was the victim of domestic violence, June 9, 1980, at the hands of her husband. Anyone who knows the course, the actual finish line is right across from Flag Park in the courthouse. It's right on Washington Avenue, the 200 block, and that's the finish line. Now, the hill going up Cooper's is about 6 blocks away.
That's the unkindest
It's the
hill of
most
all.
unkind hill of all times. It's a block long. It's horrible.
Do
It's,
they
and
make
you
people not cross it, or what?
you have to go up it.
Man.
So my kids were actually waiting down towards the finish line for me. They were at like the last block to come in and finish with. Well, Joan had said that she was going to be at the hill. So I was about 45 minutes late or more, right? So I get to the hill, and not only is Joan there, there's a crowd of people there, and they're all screaming my name as I'm coming up the hill. Joan jogged the last 5 blocks alongside of me to the finish line.
I also had to play
And
gate
I
guard.
have the pictures to prove it. They're right here. And
Play gate guard.
yeah, and she made sure to get killed by any cars along the way too. But she did an incredible job, and I'd just like to thank her for being there, because the last 6 blocks are really, really tough, and you're really like, I mean, you're going to get to the finish line, but it's great when you have someone there inspiring you and pushing you and moving you forward. So I have a small bouquet of flowers as a token of my
Aw.
appreciation for Joan.
Thank you.
I hope I'll be there too. But Joan, thank you very much. Thank you. And that was as Pat O'Malley, not a commissioner, okay? Okay, 18-0218. Presentation for Jean Ann Donovan and Tina McGuire. And this is a great story. Are they here today? Please come up to the podium. I get a call from the director. Come right by the podium. I get a call from our director of Parks and Recreation, Bill Davis, that there's a blue herring back at the park. And they're beautiful. We've never seen anything like this around here ever in our lives. We're like, wow. And it had the fishing line on it with the waiter and all this stuff. And it seemed like they must have been keeping that off kilter to fly, right? And I think it was also enjoying. There's a lot of fish because we stock it, right, Bill? A lot of fish in there for the fishing tournaments for the kids. And so I called Bill. I said, Bill, geez, what can we do about this? Well, I already had the game commission here, and if we try to net it, it might break its wing, and then they'd have to put it down. I said, geez, can't they just tranquilize it and they'll take it out of the water and then cut off the thing and just have someone watch it so nothing bothers it until it gets up and flies away? And he was starting to look at some other avenues. You guys were ingenious.
Thank you.
The bird loved fish. and I know the viewing audience, and like I saw the news stations, they were all there. That's, everybody felt bad because this beautiful bird, that might have, hindered it from flying to get out of this area before it gets really, really cold here.
It did.
And it did. And you guys, I know you must have talked to each other and said, like, let's go down that park. We've got a great idea. Now, I read the story. Let's hear the story. Tell us what happened.
Well, I had heard it on the news
Yeah.
that there was a hearing up at Midday Park, and it had a hook in it, and a line and a weight and the whole 9 yards. And they were talking, they didn't know if they could get it or not, blah, blah, blah. And they talked about euthanasia. And when I heard that, my head went off. I thought, no, they're not going to shoot
Beautiful bird.
the beautiful bird like that, like they did at the airport with the mama bear with the little baby cubs. So I called Tina, and I said, what are you doing tomorrow? And she said, nothing. I said, well, we're going to go get a bird. So we packed up the car the next day, and I brought a towel, and she brought her little kit. I went ahead my husband's mustache scissors with me also,
Yeah.
because it's only a fishing line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she brought her jar of salmon.
Yeah.
Okay, her jar of salmon. And we walked over, and there was the herring. It was across the pond, so we just sat down, and we put out the fish. Tina put out the fish, and we're sitting there, and he's just doing his thing. And I said, how do you call a herring? Like a bird, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
dog, you go,
Yeah,
yeah. How do you do
like
it?
Yeah, I go.
exactly. So she said, let me Google it. So she Googled it, and all these herring calls came up. So she put it on real loud on her phone, and then all of a sudden, like the herring, like kind of looked and turned around, and it was like, oh, yeah, this is good. This is good. So we're sitting there, and then he flew in the middle of the pond, and then not even 5 minutes later, he flew right next to us. And he was looking at us, and we're looking at him, and we're petrified to move. We didn't want to scare him. So Tina goes, what should we do? And I go, just wait a little bit. And then he started walking closer to us. So that was good. He was picking up the salmon and dropping it in the water, and then he'd reach over and he'd eat it. It was beautiful. So she said, I could reach the line. I said, well, get it on 3. So we counted to 3, and she got the line. So he started flapping a little bit. So I quick scooped his wings together so he couldn't get hurt, and we just kind of laid him in the water. And then I held onto his leg, and she took my husband's mustache scissors, because that's all you needed.
Yeah.
No big thing like everybody else was talking. And she snipped away, and we got to the hook, and that was kind of inside the leg. It was stuck in its little leg, and he just kept looking back at me and look at her every now and then. But I think he knew we were trying to help him. I really, really do. So we had to push the hook through, and that was kind of,
Yeah.
but we did it, and we held him, and I said, okay, bye, and we said goodbye,
off.
and he flew away. He flew away. Well, we were screaming, yelling, high five, like, ladies did this, and the men couldn't do it. They were going to do this, do that. So it was great. Thank you. It was great. So we were happy, and I don't know if he's still there. He was there the next day. We went up to check on him, and he was limping a little bit, but he seems to be doing very well.
Yeah.
So that was our day. It was great. It was like you see on TV where they rehabilitate the animal and
Yeah.
they all go out and they let it go. It
Yeah.
was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So our director called me and said, 2 ladies came up here. They lured in with food, and they got I didn't realize the hook. I thought it was a string. So there was a hook in its leg.
Yep.
Through its leg,
And it's
yes.
through its leg, and had the string and had the waiter on it.
It had
So,
a
yeah.
big weight on it.
I
Yeah.
have it.
Oh, you brought it?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
Good girl. We're always thinking.
It's a nice heavyweight.
Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that would
Oh, you
throw.
have it, yeah.
I don't carry the hook around.
Yeah, like that. I think, my opinion, they need to really empty out that pond. Because usually when you're fishing when you're a kid and the hook gets caught, we all do it, you just cut the line. And God knows
Yeah,
how
so
many
there's probably a
lines
lot of
are
hooks
in
in
there.
there.
Maybe if they dredged the bottom of it, they would get the lines out that are there.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. In the spring,
But,
you know.
But we're just very thankful for what the two of you did. Commissioner
you.
Cummings.
Thank
Well,
you.
I just think it's something that you took into your own hands, and another random act of kindness has occurred
Yeah.
throughout our county, and you're a part of that. And I appreciate the fact that you stepped up and took the and had the courage to take the initiative to go and do something about a situation that you felt that you can handle more appropriately, and you did.
Yes, we
So
did.
thank you so very much. And
You're welcome.
it just is a testament to the people that live in our area and how so many are, just they're so courageous and grateful with their own time.
Yeah.
That's your time that you took out of your day to go and do something that we consider a random act of kindness, and we greatly appreciate it. Thank you for what you've done.
Thank you. When it comes to an animal, we'll go to hell and high water just to make sure it's okay.
That was a testament. We know you would now.
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Commissioner Terriani.
A great job, a great story, how he ever came up with the idea of doing that. And I was reading and it says, Gene took hold of the heron. How do you take hold of a heron?
Just get in there. Never give up. That's our motto.
Just, it's a wonderful story, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It's just amazing, and got to give you a lot of credit.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just amazed that, like I said, we reached out to everyone that we're supposed to, and we're trying to figure out how to take care of this, and just, you guys just took
mustache scissors,
took
that's
by the
all it
horns
took.
and took care of the bird. You really did it. You
Yeah,
really did.
like there's nothing you could do. You don't give up till you do something.
Yeah.
Her and I had to sit there all day on that cold rock.
Yeah.
We would be sitting there all day on that cold rock. Somebody had to help that bird. He's got to migrate down south.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to with the weight.
He'd
and-
die here
Yeah.
in the winter time. So I hope he's on his way migrating, and maybe he'll bring a couple friends back with him.
If he doesn't, the director of the parks, Bill Davis, is going to buy him a first-class trip down there, so he'll be on the plane, right, Bill?
He should fly him down.
You
Where
fly
is
him
he?
down. He's right there. Well, we have two certificates here. Okay.
Nice.
Certificate recognized recognition for the County of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize Jean Ann Donovan and Tina McGuire on the honor of achieving a designation as an individual providing great works in Lackawanna County, given the 17th day of October of 2018 by Commissioner O'Malley, Commissioner Terriani, and Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Would you like to come forward?
Thank you.
Bill, I think you come on up for this one, Bill.
I'm gonna shake hands. Why not? Right?
Absolutely. You come up here. That's all right.
Wrecking everything.
That's okay. You got the bird. What's wrong with you?
Come on around here.
Come right up. Congratulations, and
Thank you.
very much.
Congratulations.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
There's that guy we talked to.
Yeah.
You were the guy in the blue suit, right?
Yep.
Okay,
That's me.
that's you. Oh, thanks.
Step over here, Tate. Come over this way. Over towards Bill.
I'll get my belt. Photo shoot.
I really mean, thank you for what you did, really.
Yeah, no.
Congratulations. We're so happy to have you.
It's all about the animals.
We know it
We
was.
rescued a cat before we even got here.
We're doing 14 to 15 cats.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's, if you think about it, that's what it's about. It's about everyone just stepping up and helping each other, just being there when something bad goes wrong. And like they were just concerned with the fact that they might euthanize the bird, you know what I mean? And they made sure that everything went well. So it's a great story. Ladies, thank you so much. And thank you for your kindness. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to have Sylvia Passeri come up to the podium. Now, Sylvia, all of us have relatives, great-grandparents, somewhere in our history, if you lived here for over 50 years, 60 years, that have been in the mines. When all of us came over here from Europe, everybody thought that the roads were going to be laid with gold and it was going to be easy. And you know what? It's horrible to say. They went down into hellish mines. That's what they did. They went down in the mines, and there was no at the very beginning. There was no 8-hour work days. There was no child safety rules. There was no nothing, and they made a living out of it. They built their churches. They raised their families. They went to war. They made our community what it is today. And Sylvia wanted to make sure that there would be a monument dedicated to them. Now, we have other coal mine monuments in Lackawanna County. This one's different. I think it's the only one that actually has the names of miners on it. Am I right, Sylvia?
Yes.
And it's amazing. And she did this undertaking on her own. So, Sylvia, the floor is yours. Let's talk about your monument.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. A wise person once said, "You have to raise a flag to see who is going to salute it." 2 years ago, I raised a flag for a wonderful group of men who couldn't do it for themselves, the coal miners. Over 650 families felt like I did and joined in with me to help honor them. Families from all over the U.S. with the help of the internet. I'd like to personally thank Jeff Horvath from the Times. He put me on the map. He wrote articles about me that people found on the internet and called and put their names on my monument. Thank you very much, Jeff. Patty Reeder from the Powell Law Firm is my attorney, and Patty worked endlessly pro bono for my monument. I thank you, Patty. Debbie Rotel, George Sofko, Noreen Lynett, Jeff Priest, Coach Mishko, all part of my team that helped make this a success. Now, during my unveiling, we had a lovely program, but the runners were going through the park, and there was somebody there yelling, "Sylvia, Sylvia!" I'm wondering who that was. Pat, do you know anything about that?
I told you I'd be there around 12-something. That's mile 17.
And so
the sun was out.
And so he was. The sun did come out when he was running through. But thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything. The commissioners, the state, everyone that helped make this a success. Thank you.
Oh, Sylvia, you and your committee and all of your friends made it a success. You really did. You did a fine job. Commissioner Cummings?
Well, the coal miners built our community. I mean, we wouldn't be here without them, so they were here for a reason. They came here to work. We had people from all over the world come here to work, and they built this area, and we owe them our future and our past. So proud of having that monument. Thank you for your work on that.
Thank you.
And thank you to Jeff Horvath as well.
Commissioner Notarianni?
Sylvia, as usual, a great job. It's been a long time coming. You've been working on it for quite a while. I had a grandfather die from black lung from working in the coal mines. I understand it and I appreciate it, and I think you did a phenomenal job. And I'm glad to see that Jeff helped you do something like that.
Yeah.
It's important.
It did a good thing.
Thanks for
Change.
the work.
Yeah, Sylvia. It was an honor and privilege to be there. Okay, when I hit mile 17, it was right around that area. And I told her, I said, I'll be there to say a few words. And we managed to say a few words. Not about, it was funny because when the marathon was over, one of the other marathoners said, I never saw anybody do a speech at mile 17. I said, I did in place. I took my hat off, took my glasses off. But it was, she had over 200 people there. And like I said, it was great. The weather was perfect. Not for me, but for her, it was great. And the monument was second to none. It's really, really beautiful. And for anybody out there, the viewing audience, there's still like 100 spots left.
Yes.
I'm going to buy one off you right today from my,
Oh,
my
thank you.
grandfather.
Thank you.
My poor grandfather had beautiful blue eyes when my grandmother married him, and when he went into the mines, he got one of them knocked out.
Oh.
And that always drove her nuts. And he left the mines after that, but I'd love to have his name on the memorial. So
Yes, everyone, please keep the names coming. If we don't have any room, we'll make room. We'll put another pot in for the names.
like I said, everyone has some kind of relative that was in the mines, and
Yes.
and it was horrible. It really was. And for anybody in the viewing audience, people say, we have a model this, a model that, a model this. We have a real authentic mine. Our mine is called the Continental Mine, and it opened in 1860 and it closed in the 1960s. And it's right up in McDade Park. And if anybody who dislikes their job, I don't care what you do, go for that tour, and I don't care what you do. You'll love what you do for a living, because their job was harsh. It really was harsh. But we have something special for you today that you're going to be able to take with you. So I'm going to ask the commissioners to please come up. We're going to reveal it for Sylvia. Come on, Sylvia, come on up. We thought that you would like this because we know how much the monument meant to you and what it means to be a coal miner and what it took to make it happen. Sorry. So.
Oh, that's my guy. Oh, my
We have the options to blow this up, but we want to make sure we get this blown up for you.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Is that beautiful? Commissioners, can we look right here and get a picture? Sylvia?
That's my man. Pardon me?
Sylvia, can you look right here? Take one. Smile. Thanks. Very good. Thank you. Sylvia, we also would like to, I'm not sure if whoever you'd like to have come up, we have a certificate of recognition of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners hereby recognizing Sylvia Passera in honor of achieving a designation of an individual providing great works in Lackawanna County, given this 17th day of October by Commissioner O'Malley, Commissioner Terrian, and Commissioner Lorena and Cummings. Would you like to come? Yes, you can bring everybody up. And so everybody knows this flag is of a coal miner. And if you see what he's doing, he's crawling, and you got to understand, in some areas of the mine, you literally crawled to dig out the coal.
Be careful with stuff. Yeah. Hi, how are you? Thank you. For doing this. That's so sweet. Just be careful on the stuff.
Pull you right
I don't want to block you out.
There she is. How are you? What's up?
Hi, how are you? I'm fine. How are you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll put a couple when you go over this side.
Sure.
Sylvia in the middle.
Good job, there. How are you?
Patty, will you step over there so I can put you on the other side? And that's it. That's you.
Get in here.
I think we're okay. We got everybody. Okay, we got good.
You gotta move it down.
Everybody's getting a little tighter.
No, we're not.
No, you're not here.
Fran, help us out.
Okay, so squeeze down the fat, squeeze down. Commissioner can get up on the step.
There we go.
Thank you.
Don't push her off. She got shorter all of a sudden.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. Couple here. Everybody smile. Very good.
Congratulations, everybody. Great job, really. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really is.
Thank you very much.
Patty, great job.
Thank you.
Great job. Thanks, Jerry. Oh, Sylvia here. Sylvia. I'll get you his. It's Tom O'Malley, but I'll get everything there for you. Yeah, my grandfather would be very, very happy with that. And I'd like to just thank everyone that helped out and made this possible for our coal miners. Thank you. Thank you very much for everything that you've done. Okay. 18-0219, Small Business Spotlight, Commissioner Cummings.
NEPA Fit Club. We have Mike Mercinick. Come on up, Mike. Tell us a little
Mike,
bit
come
about
on
your
up to the-
business.
Podium.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
She's half the room left.
They're all with Sylvia.
Thank you for having me today.
Sure.
Happy to
us-
come in.
Tell us about your business and what you do. And
Sure. So, for almost 10 years now, I've owned and operated NEPA Fit Club in Blakely on Route 6. We started off in Jessup, actually, in 2009, an 1,800 square foot facility. And we've since moved up to a 5,000 square foot facility on Route 6 in Blakely. We run a fitness business, but we're more coaching based. We're not like your typical gym where you'd come in and just kind of use the equipment and just pay money to use the equipment. Everything we do is with the individual in mind. So everything we do is run from either large group or small group coaching and nutrition.
nice. So you have more individualized care, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
And how did you get started? What made you decide to do that?
Well, I mean, in the Wayback Machine, I was overweight as a kid. So that kind of fueled my interest in nutrition and training and sports, things like that. So I went and got an undergrad degree in nutrition and dietetics and became a registered dietitian.
Nice.
And received a master's degree in sports nutrition and exercise science. So to be quite honest, I was planning on moving away because, often you hear, you have to move someplace else to make it big. And, sitting back one day, I just thought, if we're constantly moving quality away from the area, how can we improve the quality of the area? So, I started actually with a goal of not only of providing the highest quality service, but something that the community can rely on as a quality piece.
That's an amazing story, and that's what we're trying to do with this spotlight, is to show people that you don't have to move away. You have the ingenuity to do your own business on your own, and we have people here that have done it, and you're a testament to those people, and you're someone that our younger generation can look to for encouragement, and we want to make sure that they know, stay here, and you're someone that has. And I love your story. Thank you for telling us that part of your story, because it's so important that people understand you don't have to necessarily move to bring economic development to our area. It's within you to do that. And that's what makes a community. That's what makes our country. That's what our whole country is based on. And you are just such an inspiration to others. So thank you for telling us your story. I know I watch, I don't know if you watch that show. I'm a big fan of the show, The 600-Pound Life.
Oh, yeah.
And those people have such courage to be able to change their entire life. And, it breaks your heart to see them initially, but then in the end, when you see the end product and how far they've come within a 2-year time frame through individual care like that you're providing, it's amazing, and it's really something that's needed in our country today. So thank you very much for your work and for helping others to make sure that their lifestyle is achievable and a goal is achievable for them. Very proud to have you here. Thank you so
very
much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Terry?
The fact that you stayed and came
Yes.
back here is the story to me.
Yep.
It's a wonderful thing. I personally don't make it to a gym, but I have a son that spent a lot of time doing that.
Yeah, my son does too.
It's something he really enjoys, and it's worked out well for him, and kept him focused and out of trouble.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do, and I'm glad for him. I just personally never had time, and
Yeah.
but I'm glad he does, and I'm glad you came here and decided to stay and do a good job.
Thank you. And one of the most rewarding things for me is when we take interns in from the University of Scranton or Marywood or any of the surrounding universities. They want to, usually they talk about experiencing something in a bigger city or, where would they have to go. And if once they do that, they come back and they compare and they say, it was here all along. So sometimes they
great.
get motivated to stay as well and realize that they can actually have a career in Northeast PA, which is, that's makes me feel good that just means we're branching out and reaching more of the community in a wider and broader base.
In the weightlifting world, northeastern Pennsylvania has been really
We're pretty good.
very good.
Yeah, we're pretty good. One of my employees was a national record holder, so yeah, we're pretty good.
Yeah, you are.
NEPA Fit Club. Mike, this is definitely blood, sweat, tears, a lot of hard work. It's your passion. This is who you are, and you come back to try to make people healthy. And like I said, I mean, I see what your numbers are, but I also understand what you're doing. I mean, it's just not a regular gym where you just might spend whatever. I mean, you're spending money for, you get a dietitian, you have options, there's trainers there. So you're giving them everything that they possibly need to be able to accomplish their goals.
Absolutely.
And that really matters for our community, and it matters for the people that are trying to be fit and healthy. And people want to live a long life. And, I mean, if you want to live a long life, you want to make sure that you're in good shape. So,
Yeah.
you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
But tell us, okay, phone number. What's the phone number for the place?
Phone number is 570-840-2586.
What's the address? Somebody's wondering, where is it at? Where are we at?
3189 Route 6, Scranton Carbondale Highway in Blakely. You're probably not going to find it in your GPS. It
Yeah.
kind of gives you we're about, if you're going towards Carbondale from Scranton, we're about a half mile down from Wegmans.
Okay.
So we're
Where would you
kinda-
be on the left-hand side then?
On the left-hand side, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So were you by Paris Monument and those guys? in that
Yep,
area? Right?
we're just maybe eighth of a mile down the road from there.
Okay, great. No, where you're at, you're on the left-hand side. What's your website? What's the website? What do we got
Website's
there?
www.nepafitclub.com. You can check us out on Facebook, all social media. So,
I can see in your eyes that this is who you are.
oh,
You
definitely.
can see there's a shine when somebody does what they like you said, what I mean? And I know the work is hard, and I know there's tedious days, and I know there's days where there should be more membership, or there's less membership, or there's more membership. And it's a constant, you're constantly working to make sure that you keep your membership up, because you want to make sure your gym is able to stay above water. What I mean? It's not easy, and that's where all businesses have the same situation. Yours is a different type of situation, but the same similar situation. But I can see in your eyes that you're making it happen every day.
Yeah, I mean, we start by putting people first. It's not cliche. If we're invested in someone,
Yeah.
they get results, and then they tell friends.
Yeah.
And,
Word of mouth is still one of the best ways in this world to
Definitely,
promote your business.
definitely.
But congratulations on behalf of the citizens
very much.
of our community, and thank you for staying here and having your small business here and giving back.
Absolutely. Thank you
Commissioner
very much.
Cummings?
Do you have an age limit or age?
No, we have clients range from 11 years old to 84 years old.
That's
good,
8 to
because-
80.
Yeah.
It's years ago when they first started opening those clubs, that there was an 18 and older restriction. So, but I think the youth in our area, especially those that are involved in sports, really could use a lot of your facility for a lot, because there's so much misinformation out there in regards to how to take care of yourself. And, you have people that, not just are overweight, but underweight as well. And that is another issue that, especially with our females, that we have a problem with. And, I'm hoping that that would be something that you had available to let people know that, these fad diets aren't the way to go, and the right way to, train, so that they're not hurting themselves and, destroying their muscle tissue. So
Absolutely.
it's nice to have you around. I'm going to have to sit down and talk to you more, because I think you did a great service here. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So today, we offer a certificate of recognition. The County of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize NEPA Fit Club in honor of achieving the designation of a small business spotlighted in Lackawanna County, given the 17th day of October 2018 by Commissioner Patrick O'Malley, Commissioner Jerry Natariani, and myself. Come on up. I'll give you my card. Please make sure you stay in touch. So much for staying
Thank you
here.
very much.
Really appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
My pleasure.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
We're
much.
happy to have you.
Thank you. Commissioner, thank you very much.
We saw you in the paper this Sunday, too, so.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Here we go. Camera, smile. One more. Very good.
Fran, didn't this used to be your job?
I was just
What's going on
thinking
here?
that, like, we're.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh, great
Thank you very much.
She's moving up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good luck with your membership and good luck with everything, your endeavors. Thank you. Great job. Okay. There's a lot of great things going on in Lackawanna County. There's a lot of great people doing great things. There really is. There's just
Smart people.
It's good to get them in here. Yeah, and smart people too. Resolutions 18-0216.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution approving the current payables. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the following payables. Lackawanna County General Fund, numbers from 270509 through 271432 inclusive, totaling $1,974,204.92, and all electronic fund transfers, including all payroll accounts, totaling $4,321,700.81.
Okay. Controller, everything's good?
Yes,
Emilio?
Commissioners, all invoices have been audited and
Eddie?
approved.
Yes.
There is one invoice related to the county prison investigation
Yeah.
for legal services payable to Myers, Breyer, and Kelly in the amount of $45,198.21. I'm holding that until today's meeting before we send it out.
Okay. Very good. Okay, do you have a tally? I think Joan asked for that. Is it, or?
Yeah, the total will be now $624,455.03 after this
today's.
last payment is made.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion approving current payables. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. 18-0207.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is a resolution opposing the condemnation and taking of residential property. It's a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County opposing the condemnation and taking of residential property in South Abington Township by the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission for the purpose of creating the Scranton Beltway Project connector without further study and review with the affected residents of Lackawanna County. Whereas the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission is developing a Scranton Beltway project to create a direct connection between Interstate 81 and the Pennsylvania Turnpike in South Abington Township, Lackawanna County. And whereas, as a part of the process, residents of the Woodcrest Estates section of South Abington Township have received letters from the Turnpike Commission regarding property studies in their development connected with the planning for the project, which could include the adverse condemnation of some or all of their residential properties. And whereas the residents of this community have reached out to the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners seeking their support in opposing this project and the condemnation of their properties in South Abington Township. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County believe that the condemnation of residential property should only be done in circumstances of great public need, where the benefits of a project outweigh the needs of residents affected. And whereas the Turnpike Commission has not produced any substantive empirical evidence to demonstrate the feasibility of establishing a direct connector from Interstate 81 to the Turnpike through South Abington Township. And whereas the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners opposes the condemnation of any residential properties in the Woodcrest Estates development without further study and establishment of empirical evidence demonstrating a greater public need which outweighs the rights of the property owners. Now, therefore, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby resolve the following. 1. The Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County joins the residents of the Woodcrest Estates development in opposing the condemnation of residential property in South Abington Township, Lackawanna County, for the establishment of a connector roadway for the Scranton Beltway project by the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission without further study and establishment of empirical evidence demonstrating a greater public need which outweighs the rights of the property owners. And at the last meeting, Commissioners, you had made a motion that we draft a resolution, and this is the resolution.
I'd just like to say that I had an opportunity to drive through the Woodcrest Estates in South Abington Township, and we received a lot of phone calls on this, and we have two of the citizens, or maybe I'm not sure, there might be more here in the room, that were very concerned. Some of them lived in their homes for 40 years, and they want to die in their homes. That's what I mean. Everybody would like to have that option in their life to be able to live and die in your own home. And their concern was that their house could be torn down, their memories could be destroyed, and their neighborhood could be gone. And listen, I understand progress. I love the idea of progress, but this board is concerned about. Like at this point, nothing's really happening, but sometimes when nothing's really happening, something really happens fast. So we just wanted to be on the offensive to make sure that people realize that us, as the Board of Commissioners, are concerned, and we will be voting this resolution in a few moments, and we care about the citizens that live in that community because it's their home, it's their neighborhood, and it's, like I said, it's their castle, it's your home. Commissioner Cummings?
Yeah, this was brought to my attention. Actually, I found this information on Facebook of all places, so thank you for the work that you're doing, because without that, I probably would not even have known that it was going on. I heard about the story briefly in the newspaper, but it's something that, I would never, I don't care what the reasons are, I wouldn't approve it anyway. I mean, I would not support it, especially for the Turnpike, which they just want to get more business towards, what it looks like is they want to get more business to the Turnpike. Well, lower your rates and get rid of that ridiculous thing where you mail people a bill for $2, I mean, come on. So I support
Well,
you.
sometimes they get you for more money.
Well, that's
I'm
their
not saying
goal.
who.
That's their goal. Pay it late and they get
Yeah.
$25, which is exactly what I did. I'm dummy. I fell for it. So there you go.
Paid it immediately when I went through
You
it.
paid immediately, or you paid
Immediately.
$25 or more. So I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners for, and our solicitors, and John Sarah, who's my solicitor, for helping with this resolution and getting it done so quickly, and for your support. And I thank for the residents that have actually taken the initiative to push this and get so many signatures. I don't know if you met your goal yet. I know I signed on. So, I mean, if you need any help with that, I'd be happy to help you. But, this is important. And our residents have suffered enough with the loss of their homes. They don't need a government coming down and tearing them down, regardless of their intent, whether you want to keep it until work and die there, or whether you want to hand it down to your family. That should be your decision, and no one has the right to take that property away from you. Home ownership is one of the main core values of our country and our citizens, and it should never be touched or never ever should it be condemned or destroyed unless absolutely necessary. So thank you for bringing this to us, and keep up the great work.
Commissioner Terriani?
Thanks, Al, and Wally, for your hard work on this. At this point, I don't see I don't feel the Turnpike has demonstrated the benefit of this project, and it is horrific to have to deal with them. I just dealt with the eminent domain for 10 years. It's not a pleasant experience, and it's very costly to fight with them. So the best of luck, and we're glad to do whatever we can to be helpful. Thank you.
Truly, like, home is where the heart is, and I know that your hearts are in your homes. Would you like to say a few words before we vote, or would you like to just, it's up to you.
I'd just like to say how much we appreciate what you're doing. We have gone everywhere, talked to everybody. We're not stopping. You mentioned a goal. The goal is unlimited. We'll get as many signatures on that petition as we can, and we're still fighting. We're not ever going to stop the fight until we could stay in our home.
Congratulations.
Forever.
Great job.
You can come up to the podium if you like.
As everybody my personal record, as everybody knows, I know quite a few people, Mr. Torian and you, I appreciate from all my heart and soul my wife for everything you're doing. A lot of people don't know, when I was a kid, I practically, and I really did, live in an automobile from time I was born, like a gypsy, until I had joined the Army. The Army was my only home. Spent 7 years in the Army. I'm decorated. Spent time in Korea, spent time in Vietnam. I was in the Tet Offensives and places like that. I came home, I did my duty, I paid my dues to society. I want to make a better person because when I was younger, I was, excuse the expression, a dirtball because of my living conditions. Could have done more of my life. Military changed my life. Finally, got married to a fantastic lady there, and her family took me in. I worked my tail off, 2 and 3 jobs, and I worked for the county and everything like that, and I got a great job, wonderful future, finished my college and everything, but I never had a home. I had a fight from the time I was a baby all the way up and going to reform schools and everything. Now I have a home. Now I don't know how to fight this. And you people are the only ones that can help us, and it's other people, and I'm sure there's a lot more like me out there who've had the same situation for one reason or another. But this is the only home I've ever owned, and I'll be damned if I'm going to lose it. And I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. And these people out there in Harrisburg and everything just put down what they think they want to do, but they don't know the standards of people with the life they had to live to achieve their goals and get where they're going now. I'm still fighting, my wife and I, and without her, I wouldn't know what to do. And all those people up there in Woodcrest on both sides of the highway and other areas around the state, they're just taken advantage of and are being destroyed because somebody somewhere has the power to get up in the morning, look in the mirror and shave and say, okay, who do we mess over today? And that's, I feel, what's doing. And we're the little people, and the big people are making a lot of money, and nobody wants to help us. And you people right here in this county, your commissioners, are the only ones that have really gone out of their way, even with this resolution and everything, to help us out. And with all my heart and soul, and from the people we represent from Woodcrest and the Abington, the people up there, we really appreciate it very much, with all our heart and souls, that somebody's fighting and doing something for us for a change.
We care, and thank
We
you
do.
for your service.
Yes,
Thank you for
sir.
your service. Okay,
Roll call.
I'd like to make a motion opposing the condemnation and taking of residential property. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much. That's heartwarming.
18-0208.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution entering into a service agreement for juvenile detainees. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into a purchase of service agreement with Lancaster County and Chester County for the housing of juvenile detainees. And here to address the Board is the Honorable Trish Corbett. Judge.
Good morning,
Judge.
Commissioners. How are you today?
Morning.
As you know, we, as of, I believe it was on or about August 8th, the detention center of Lackawanna County closed, and we needed to outsource our services, or the services that we need to when it becomes necessary to detain a juvenile. We had entered into a contract with Northampton County, and unfortunately, we had a bad weekend a few weekends ago where there was no more room. We had a number of serious cases that came in, and Northampton didn't have enough room. So consequently, we have looked into having per diem contracts with two other detention centers if and when it becomes necessary to detain a child. And those facilities are Chester County and Lancaster County. I've looked into both of them. Chester County, as I had expected, is state-of-the-art. It's a beautiful facility with education, medical, psychological, any type of services that we would need for the child, as well as beautiful recreation facilities. Lancaster is very, very nice. It's older than Chester. It would be our preference to use Chester first anyway for two reasons. It's a cheaper per diem, as well as it, I believe, is closer in terms of travel time. Whereas I think Lancaster, because of the roads, is approximately 3-hour ride, where Chester County is about a 2-hour ride. Our hope is that we don't ever have to use them, but we need to have a place available in the event we do.
We need the option.
Yes. Are there any questions? No? Okay. Thank
I'd
you.
like to make a motion entering this service agreement for juvenile detainees. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. 18-0209.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution ratifying and approving the filing of a multimodal transportation grant application. Whereas Lackawanna County is interested in pursuing and promoting economic development and revitalization within Lackawanna County, and whereas Lackawanna County has submitted a grant application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development through the Multimodal Transportation Grant Program, and whereas Lackawanna County hereby authorizes the chairman of the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners to sign sign and authorize all documents and accept any awards related to this multimodal transportation grant project. Now therefore be it resolved this 17th day of October 2018 that the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners is hereby ratify and approve the submission of this application to the Multimodal Transportation Grant Program. And here to address the board is George Kelly, our Director of Community and Economic Development. George?
Thank you,
Good morning,
Chief.
George.
Good morning, Commissioners. This grant application is for the revitalization and to address serious safety concerns we have on Radisson Avenue. Just to clarify by some of the questions earlier, this isn't a grant for the Radisson Hotel, but it's a grant that will actually address taking down that wall, which my understanding is it is in a public right-of-way. When the state expanded Lackawanna Avenue and put the turn lane in when they redid the intersection, they actually took out the sidewalks. So if you look out across the street from the Gateway building, Gateway Center,
There's no sidewalks.
we have mothers and strollers walking along the street to get to the bus stop on a very sharp turn, and it's very, very unsafe. This grant, what we're trying to address is to, one, take that wall down and move it back, create a safe sidewalk, also to put crosswalks across from where the Radisson is over to the other side of the street, which also connects to the Hilton for further safety, and we're also looking to do some lighting. Originally, this grant was submitted by Scranton Tomorrow on behalf of the city of Scranton and for the county. And there was a requirement for match funds if Scranton Tomorrow did that as a private nonprofit organization. With the county submitting this through the Department of Community Economic Development, we don't have to take money out of our own pocket to make this happen. We don't need a match since we're a county government. So it was better suited to ask the Board of Commissioners to approve this application for those funds. This falls in line with the Lackawanna Luzerne transportation plan that we have. It's fighting blight. It is an economic development initiative in addition to a safety initiative.
A lot of people don't realize like that sidewalk that they're coming from south side turns left, right to go down into downtown Scranton. There's no sidewalk after you pass the Hilton there. It's really dangerous.
That bus stop is owned by Colts.
Yeah.
So we'll be working with Colts too to see if we could realign that bus stop to move it further down where it's not right on the curb. But it's a concern every day, usually 3 to 4 o'clock, you see a number of people sitting in that bus stop waiting for the bus. And I cringe because I know it'll only be a matter of time before we have an issue.
Okay.
Is that on the left side or the right side?
As you're coming from the Hilton, it's on the right, so it's across the street from Kildara's and the Gateway.
You
Center
can't
that we
miss it.
have.
There's no
Not
sidewalk.
the huge wall. God bless,
Bless
you.
you.
God bless.
That's not the huge wall that's like, you know.
Not the big wall that does
Mural.
the
Like at
Radisson
a,
itself.
it's like at a half an angle like this.
Wall.
It's it's
It goes up a
Oh,
little
so
bit
we're
higher,
talking
so
about
it's
a
right on
little-
the street.
A little like 3 to 4 foot wall?
Yes,
Okay.
up the top it goes up just a little bit higher. No, that big wall's the Radisson, we wouldn't want to do that.
That's what I
their
thought you were talking
responsibility.
about initially. Okay.
Yeah, they should do some murals or something to really highlight
That's
that,
theirs.
but that's Radisson.
That's their problem.
We wouldn't do that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I'd like to make a motion ratifying and filing the multimodal transportation grant application. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. No.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Thank you, George. 18-0210.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution entering into an agreement with the Career Technology Center. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into an agreement with the Career Technology Center of Lackawanna County for the administration and operation of a strategic innovation grant project providing short-term classroom activities addressing occupational pathways within healthcare. And here to address the board again is George Kelly. George?
Thank you. This grant is a grant to enable CTC to work with healthcare providers to give their students a flavor of what it's like to work in a healthcare environment. Healthcare, one of our largest employers in the area, there is a need for entry-level people. So it's a good use of a grant to educate our students and connect the dots between business, jobs, and education. This comes through the Workforce Development Board. It's Department of Labor money that comes in. So it's not out of our general fund, and the board usually administers these grants with a fiscal agent manager on that.
Are they hiring someone to teach in the classrooms at some certain school, or how does that work?
What this usually does is we'll cover the expenses of conducting the classes as well as the tours and at the health providers. So they'll work with hospitals such as Geisinger, Regional, to bring people in. So we'll pay the expenses that run that program.
So it's a tour of a medical facility for
It'd
the
be touring of
students of the
facilities.
schools?
It'd be the actual people coming in and addressing the classes too, to give overviews of what the jobs are in healthcare.
Is it one person, George, or how many?
I'm not sure of the size of the team, but I can get that for you.
What's the
Commissioner.
total on that?
$17,186.
Okay, you have 17,086. Are you sure it's one?
What? 17,186.
Yeah, okay, there's a typo then. And that's page 2.
Okay, any other questions? I'd like to make a motion entering into an agreement with Career Technology Center. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. 18-0211.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution authorizing applications for the Community Development Block Grant Program. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna does hereby authorize the submission of an application in the amount of $269,219 for the Community Development Block Grant non-entitlement municipalities in Lackawanna County under the federal fiscal year 2018 Community Development Block Grant Program as administered by the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. Be it further resolved that the county does hereby propose the following activities under the county's non-entitlement application. 1. Lackawanna County for non-entitlement municipalities fiscal year 2018 CDBG program funds $269,219. Administration costs $48,459. Proposed activities: rehab single unit residential fiscal year 2018 CDBG program funds $98,703. Municipality Mayfield Borough. Proposed activities: other ADA restrooms in Mayfield Emergency Management Building, fiscal year 2018 funds program, $31,988. Jefferson Township. Proposed activity: street improvements, Perry Road, program funds $90,069. Municipality Archibald Borough. Program funds $117,180 for water sewer improvements and the First Street Culvert Replacement Administration. Municipality Blakely Borough. Program funds $113,140. Proposed activity: rehabilitation of a single unit residential. Municipality Clark Summit Borough. Program funds $99,212. Activity: rehabilitation of a single unit residential, public facilities, and other ADA elevator reconstruction. Public service: handicap, pedestrian, audible signs. Municipality Dixon City Borough. Program funds $108,388. Activity: rehab single unit residential. Municipality Dunmore Borough. Program funds $185,217. Activity: single unit residential. Municipality Jessup Borough. Program funds $94,979. Activity: rehabilitation single unit residential. Municipality Old Forge Borough. Program funds $129,964. Rehabilitation of a single unit and administration fees. Oliphant Borough. Program funds $99,548. Activity: single unit residential. Municipality Scott Township. Program funds $97,182. Proposed activity: single unit residential. Taylor Borough. Program funds $110,245. Proposed activity: water sewer improvements to Jefferson Street Phase 2. And Municipality Troop Borough. Program funds $89,323. Activity: single unit residential. Be it further resolved, Lackawanna County will comply with the terms of Pennsylvania Act 179 in connection with the above-mentioned grant program, serving the needs of low and moderate income residents and eliminating slums and blighting influences. George, Kelly is back again.
Community Development Block Grant funds, every year we receive an allocation from the state, which is passed through the federal government. This year, our total allocation went up to a little over $1.5 million, which is substantially more than we've enjoyed in the last 3 to 4 years. There's two components of community development block grants. One are non-entitlement projects, and that first amount, the $269,000, addresses the communities that don't get a direct entitlement from HUD and the state. And that's the discretion of the commissioners, where the team goes out of community development and does public hearings and asks for projects. They submit projects, all the different communities, and we do a usually a public hearing in all the municipalities in each region. We get projects in, and then we try to see if they qualify under a national objective. They meet one of the objectives that we're directed to do. And then we are fortunate enough that the projects that get submitted that do qualify underneath a national objective they do get completed and get part of this program. So the 269 is non-entitlement. There is some discretion. The second part of this, the balance, is for the 11 entitlement communities of Lackawanna County, where they get to pick what projects they want to do, as long as they, again, achieve a national objective. And the communities have come to us and said, this is what we want to do in our communities to improve quality of life. So what we do now is we do this application to the state, they review it, they pass it on to HUD, HUD reviews it, approves it, and then we will get a contract back to implement the projects as described in this application.
Okay. Does the board have any questions?
Yes. Who gets the applications again, George?
The Department of Community and Economic Development receives all applications, and we work with all the communities. We actually get reimbursed for administration and delivery services from the state to do this. So there's usually about a 10% of our total 1.5 million comes into administration, and that's our role to make sure that everything's done according to the letter of the law.
So when you say the administrative costs in these, that's what we would be receiving in our office?
Yes, and that would help to support the cost of salaries and benefits and any other costs we may have to do the Community Development Block Grant Program.
So what's your responsibility to oversee these? You oversee all these projects?
Yes, my team, we have a compliance manager, a contract manager. We have a construction person that goes out and assists if need, just for reviewing. And then we have a manager of the CDBG program. So we actually have to do the applications, do all the justifications. We have to do environmentals to make sure that we don't affect any endangered species. We're okay for the environment. We have to have public hearings. We have to have a public period of time to make sure no one has an objection that the way federal money is being spent.
So all of these projects had a public hearings done?
We had meetings at each municipality where we discussed it, and it was up to councils to decide. So at a public council meeting is when they would decide what projects to submit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but we don't decide eligibility, the state does?
No, the state, they came back. The act that enabled all this money to come through the state of Pennsylvania, they have a formula where they say that Archibald, Blakely, Dunmore, Dixon, all those municipalities are entitlements, and they can do whatever they want with the money as long as they adhere to what the program calls for.
What about road improvements? Are there any in here?
Typically, you see water and
Jefferson
stormwater.
Street.
What they're doing is they're separating the water and sewer so that we don't have the major issues for the sewer authority for water entering the wrong places. So if you look here, there's 2 water and stormwater projects. You're seeing 9 different rehab buckets or categories of projects. That's where they go in and they help people stay in their house. So they'll go in to people who financially qualify, and a team will go in and actually fix the roof, fix the electric, do whatever we can so people can keep their homes and keep it in a safe environment.
Don't we do that through weatherization, though? Why would they do that through those?
Weatherization is a small program. We actually contribute $40,000 a year out of our Act 137 funds, which we get on the recording of deeds, where they'll go in and they'll help with furnaces, which is the $40,000 contribution. They'll do windows and insulation. So that's
Roofs.
a different
And
funding
roofs.
stream.
Yeah, and roofs.
Yeah.
That's what he
And that's a great program. It helps the elderly be able to afford their electric bills to let them age in place. This rehab is more of roofs, electric, a porch falling down, or something that will basically lead to the property being condemned, which we don't want to see. So we have some decent impact with a lot of older blighted houses and
God
helping-
bless
you.
Bless you. Helping people with that.
So community development block grants are used for residential properties by
Yes.
homeowners?
Yes, what they'll do is the homeowner will go through the local municipality and they'll apply for rehab. And then those recommendations from the municipalities come to our team. We do a financial qualification, make sure they don't have a ton of money hidden in the bank, that they truly are on a fixed income and don't have the resources to do it themselves. If they qualify, then depending on what has to be done, sometimes we have to do a lead abatement, we have to send in all different testing firms, and it's quite expensive endeavor if it's a large project. But typically, we try to keep the projects under $25,000 so we don't have to do lead abatement and other steps, if we can afford that.
I didn't think homeowners were eligible for this. Just the
sorry.
regular, any homeowners are eligible for this money?
It's just financially qualified, so it's in the municipality. So
It's
if-
through their individual municipality, like the
So
money
if
goes
you're a
to.
homeowner in one of these municipalities that have single-family rehab, and a single-family rehab is defined up to 4 units, so even if it's a 2-unit, as long as you're living there, you can actually apply to have your house rehabbed.
Really?
And then we have a person on board, Laura McGowan, who does the financial qualifications. We also do non-CDBG funds. We do first-time home buyers. We help people get in a house. We help elderly who need help at the same for small little $7,500 rehab projects. We work closely with the Agency on Aging to help seniors stay in their homes, use some of the affordable housing funds. So we really are focused on helping people keep their homes and stay in their homes wherever we can.
Under CDBG?
CDBG, yes, and also Act 137, which is something that we generated from the Recorder of Deeds office. We do about $165,000 a year in affordable housing money, in addition to the.
Is the borough responsible to do the administration on that project then, if it's a home? Or are we?
No, it's actually us. They'll come in with a list of people from the community. Usually they're the front line, so they'll get all the people coming to the council asking. We maintain lists too. We keep lists of anyone who approaches us directly, but they can approach us or through their local council for help.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion authorization for the Community Development Block Grant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 818-0212.
Commissioner, if I may suggest, the next 4, 212, 213, 214, and 215 are annual renewals.
We'll just do them all
You
together.
want to do them as a group? Is that okay, George?
That'd be great.
Yeah, okay.
Word, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Resolution 212, reauthorizing the readoption and implementation of plans and policies. Whereas Lackawanna County has developed an excessive force, anti-displacement, and a code of ethics policies. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby readopt and re-implement of the plan to ensure compliance with federal and state law. Item number 213. Resolution designating a Section 3 compliance officer. We resolve the County of Lackawanna hereby reauthorizes the readoption and implementation of a Section 3 plan to ensure compliance with federal and state law. Be it further resolved that the compliance manager with the Department of Economic Development is hereby designated as the Section 3 compliance officer for Lackawanna County.
Is that a new position?
Resolution 214, a resolution designating a fair housing officer. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby designate the Labor Compliance Officer of Lackawanna County Department of Economic Development as the Fair Housing Officer of Lackawanna County. And Resolution 215, a resolution designating a Section 504 Coordinator and Compliance Officer. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners reauthorize the readoption and implementation of this policy to ensure compliance with federal and state law. Be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby designate the Deputy Director of the Department of Human Services as the Section 504 Coordinator and Compliance Officer. George?
George, basically, those
There was a
those
lot
title
there.
positions we talked about them at the work session. They're to make sure that we are up to compliance, right?
Yes, federal law requires that we identify somewhere to go if anyone has an issue with any of these policies. So if someone feels they're being discriminated against, if someone feels they have an issue, they're being displaced from their homes, we need a place for them to call, and the Act requires that. Now, on the last one, the last policy, that would be our Deputy Director of HR that takes those calls, but everything else falls into my department in terms of a compliance manager, and that's the compliance function we use for community development block grants as well as all these others. Now, these policies
They're already set people, they're just
Was there any changes made on those policies?
no, these are actually.
We didn't talk about that. I have the work session right here. We did not talk about this.
George came in and talked about this.
I have LSA that was skipped, that was not spoken about.
Okay.
And the only thing we talked about was CDBG.
Yeah, the first thing that we covered.
Policy
in the
readoptions,
policy.
that was all
Yeah.
you were talking about was these.
And what this is the readoption.
But I didn't know anything about a compliance officer. What's a what is this?
That is an existing position. We're not adding anyone to staff. It's just identifying that if someone has an issue with anything that's in these policies, call 963-6830 and ask for the compliance manager. And then that person is responsible to champion and follow that through, and also to file with the state whenever we do get a complaint.
Okay, but then why does it say designating a Section 3 compliance officer?
Because that person exists now and is doing the job, but the state and the federal government requires every year that we readopt these policies. If you look at our code of ethics, we adopted that back in 2008.
Right, but you could stick changes in there if you read, like, because I know.
I was
understand.
sneaky
You didn't
about
do
that.
anything. Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I'm asking.
No, we
They
did
tried
not
that on
change
me
those.
last time, and I read them.
And we provided them with the solicitors prior at the work session, so you had a copy of those. But they are the same as we've done in the past.
Nothing was changed in the middle. Okay.
Okay, does the board have any other questions? Okay, I'd like to make a motion for 18-0212, 0213, 0214, and 0215. Do I have a second? Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Okay. Okay,
Sure something happened there that I'm not aware of, but I'll look into it.
18-0221.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution entering into an agreement with Commonwealth Energy Group. Whereas Commonwealth Energy Group LLC is a Pennsylvania domestic limited liability company focusing on the provision of services relating to alternate energy sources and uses. And whereas Lackawanna County, after a statutorily prescribed competitive selection process, previously entered into and is currently operating under a guaranteed energy savings contract known as the Pennsylvania Guaranteed Energy Savings Act. And whereas pursuant to the Guaranteed Energy Savings Contract, Lackawanna County presently pays all of its energy use costs to an energy provider affiliated with Commonwealth Energy Group LLC on a monthly basis for a term of years. And whereas Commonwealth Energy Group LLC, pursuant to the Guaranteed Energy Savings Contracts, also advises Lackawanna County and assists in the implementation of systems relating to energy conservation measures. And whereas Lackawanna County desires to further engage Commonwealth Energy Group LLC to serve as its agent and broker to arrange a financing transaction that will allow Lackawanna County to realize its projected energy savings through the calendar year 2026 in an immediate lump sum. Now therefore be it resolved in consideration of the promises and for respective representations and warranties set forth in this resolution and of the covenants and agreements contained herein and intending to be legally bound, that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County authorizes the acting chief of staff and other executive staff to take necessary steps to enter into a commodities broker agreement with Commonwealth Energy Group LLC, so the Commonwealth Energy Group LLC may arrange a financing transaction that will allow Lackawanna County to realize its projected energy savings through the calendar year 2026 in one immediate lump sum, pending Lackawanna County Solicitor's review and implementation. Here to address the board on that today from Commonwealth Energy is Mike Shea. Mr. Shea?
5 years, right?
5 years is what we talked about. We have the approval to extend an additional year.
Oh, okay, so this is, okay. This is on to what we already have then. in other
Correct.
words.
If
Okay.
if elected.
If elected, okay, okay, you could catch me off guard because I was counting 5 years from right now. It's not, okay. It's what we currently have with the 5 years added on to it.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, does the board have any questions?
This-
And this will be upon solicitor's review and our CFO.
And CFO, oh, okay, so upon the review, okay,
Yes.
well, that I can accept, okay, good.
A question. This was added to the agenda this morning. I understand it was part of the work session, but our CFO is not there, and he can't be here today. And I think, he may have some questions. I know I
That's-
don't fully. so-
Commissioner, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's part of it's pending his approval. We're going to vote pending his approval and the solicitor's approval.
Of Tom Durkin.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
that's correct,
yes.
Commissioner.
Yeah, because he was, that's what I
And,
see, he didn't have the opportunity to
So we
review
can
it.
table
So
this until then?
No, we're not tabling, we're voting it.
Well, the problem, we weren't going to put it on the agenda originally, we were going to wait, but the problem is we'll lose the rate
Yeah.
if we don't approve it by the end of the month, and this is our last meeting for this month. Is that correct, Mike? I mean,
Yes. So we've negotiated a 4.8 cent rate, which is 3 cents per kilowatt hour lower than the existing rate.
yeah, right now
If-
we're under 7, our rate is 7 point some cents per kilowatt hour.
7.893.
Right, now that will go down to 4.0.
4.820.
Okay.
And what you're going to state that that is actually going to, the rates will go up and it won't have, that can't be,
Right.
that will be the case?
It will be a
go up?
fixed rate for 5 years, yes.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking that if we don't approve it today, we're sure that the rates are going to go up?
We're not 100% sure that if you don't today, but I can only guarantee the rate till the end of the month. When you get into this time of year, energy rates are directly related to the climate. If the temperature goes down and the gas usage goes up, the commodity rate for electricity will raise. That is sure. The 4.8 cent is a very good rate based on a longer term commitment than typically had. Usually a commitment is 12 months to 18 months. So for a 5-year commitment, we're doing 3 cents below the indexed rate right now. If it goes out and the rate raises, we can't guarantee that we can get back to a 4.8 cent rate.
This was brought up at the original budget meeting, and we were waiting for an opportunity to have you come in. And it ended up that it was going to be at the next budget meeting, but it was easier for you to make it for the Friday agenda meeting. So this has been discussed at least over the last 10 days. But we are going to make sure it's upon our chief financial officers and our Sisler's approval.
Yeah, and you can make that part of the...
This is part of, we're trying to find savings, which we do all the time. And this is a great opportunity for us to get upfront money, which is something that the county can always utilize. And we've dealt and worked with Commonwealth Energy in the past. And this is just a great opportunity. It was a great idea to actually meet with them and ask if this was something that could possibly happen. And they came forward with these numbers. So, like I said, upon the CFO and our solicitors, that will be the total approval, but we will be voting for this today.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the board have any other questions? Okay, I'd like to make a motion entering into an agreement with Commonwealth Energy Group. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Pending that vote, that approval of the CFO, yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in to answer our questions along the way, because I knew that we had a timeline along with this. And like you said, it's not something that just showed up. It's something that we've been talking about, but it's just that we getting on the agenda this morning was just, we usually don't do that, but time was of the essence. So thank you for coming in today. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, motions. 18-0217.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a motion to approve the release of an RFP for banking services, and here to address the board is our Deputy Director of Purchasing, Joe Wexler. Joe?
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, John.
This request actually is being solicited in behalf of the Lackawanna County Treasurer's Office for the purpose of establishing, consolidating professional government banking services for the county. Lackawanna County desires to obtain the highest quality banking services at the lowest cost to its taxpayers. The county has identified the need to modernize several of our financial management through establishment of effective depository services, a comprehensive online banking system, an account reconciliation program, and a strategic plan to manage several accounts with the volume of over $240 million. The county's objective is to augment or complement these core functions and various technological advances and pilot programs that could improve asset performance, financial transactions, cash management, cash flow, and liquidity and customer service capabilities.
This was talked about at the work session. It's been talked about for quite a while. We reached out to the treasurer approximately last year and asked that this is something we could look towards, because we currently are not getting any type of interest on our $240 million. And we have heard that other governments do get some sort of interest, and we're hoping the numbers could be between 200 to 400K on that amount of money over a year's length. So we're going to look into it, and hopefully we'll be able to bring some more money into the general fund.
Yes, this type of proposal, it's going to be a few months. It won't be due until December 11th, just so banks can get their information together and put a credible proposal together. And actually, then the evaluation time after submitted would be a 90-day period for us to make our best decision.
Does the board have any questions or anything they'd like to say?
No, I just hope I hope that banking is easing up so that we can actually start to earn some interest on our money, including the public. I mean, if if this is the case, then the public should be seeing all of their savings accounts interest go up as well. So I'm hoping that that's what's going on, and that's really good for our citizens. I know years ago, I don't know about you, but I mean, we used to make interest on our savings account prior to the crash. I'm hoping that that's coming back now, so that's good news for our economy. That means our economy is doing really well, and Federal Reserve might be increasing those interest rates, and Dodd-Frank is easing up, and the regulations are going away. So I hope that this is the case, and we can earn some interest on our money as well. Thank you, Joe, for your work.
Thank you.
Commissioner
And Eddie Karpovich for...
Yeah, and Eddie Karpovich. Commissioner Terriani?
I'm good.
I'd like to thank our treasurer, Eddie Karpovich,
Yeah.
for working with us. Like I said, this government's always trying to be efficient, effective, and finding ways to, to make more money for the Lackawanna County government so we can have more money in our general fund. Like I said, our big cross is always trying to make sure that there's not a tax increase because the citizens just cannot afford it. So we're just looking for another opportunity for alternative revenue. So thank you, Joe. Thank you for your diligent work.
Thank you.
Okay. Opportunity for the public to address.
Vote, we had a vote. You got to vote, Commissioner.
Oh, geez. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the release of the RFU of banking services. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes, yes. Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you.
Opportunity for the public to address the board. Joan, didn't I give you flowers already?
Yes, you did.
Jesus.
Joan Hodawana, Scranton. First, I just want to make a general comment about the agenda. There's one thing I used to bug Andy Wallace about, and maybe you can help me, Mr. Frederickson, maybe you can't, but when there are items, like in the resolutions, which have no backup, no attachment, if nothing else, if you can make an attachment, the summary of your resolution, then it would give the general public some idea of what we're talking about. Because we have no chance to even, ask an intelligent question if all we have is the resolution number and a title. If that's possible, fine. If it's not, I'll understand. Next thing is we're heading into budget season. Have you decided on your dates for the public budget meetings yet?
I think I'm not sure yet, but it looks like it's probably November 1st. I'm not sure. I just got to make sure.
When you get them, if you release it to the paper
Yes, absolutely.
for a press release and put it on the website. Also, do you know when your next on the road meeting is going to be? When and where?
Probably November 7th, but I'm not sure where.
Okay, also put that on the website and have that in the paper. That would be useful. Because I'm sure people, who may not otherwise want to attend these meetings when the budget issues come up. And I understand, I see the thing, no tax increase. Woo, wonderful. But there are still issues.
There's still stuff being worked on, just so you know.
I know. I saw you posted the 3 budget messages and the worksheets on the website. Thank you very much for doing that. I've got to get a new printer cartridge before I can print out 103 pages, though. So I just did a quick and dirty look.
Don't we have a copy? We can give you a copy of the
You
budget.
do have a printed copy? Oh, good. I'll stick around.
Yeah.
But I read the 3 budget messages, and I think they were all very well written. I do want to just make one comment, and that's on Commissioner Terriani. I very much agree with you, the point you made about not delaying contributions to the pension funds. I also saw in the paper that Attorney Frederickson said that that's going to be in the budget. It's just, I guess you didn't have the number
We
yet.
had
so it
already
didn't get
discussed that in
folded.
our work session.
Yeah, this was already
If he was there, he
discussed.
would have known that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
so it
both of
doesn't,
our work sessions.
doesn't
Yeah.
show yet in the worksheets then. But because my feeling is, to me, well, first of all, you want to see what
Wasn't a
can
brain
go
idea.
wrong with pensions, look to the city of Scranton, number one. And that was a can they kicked down the road.
You can't compare us to Scranton, Joan.
Well,
Come on,
I'm just
don't
saying,
even, don't
you know,
even go
if you,
there,
if
man.
if you want a cautionary tale,
Yes,
just look
I agree
at
with
them,
that, yeah.
okay? But in many ways, it reminds me of a person has a credit card and they buy purchases and they constantly just pay the minimum, month after month. Recession hits and then they wonder why they can't pay their bills.
Right, yeah.
it's a short-term good, but a long-term problem. So I'm glad that you're looking to address that, and that it will somehow be folded into the.
Joan, I just want to explain this, and I usually don't do this during comment. I usually wait for the commissioners' part, but I'm going to do it here. Board of the Commissioners of the past. Some years they did nothing for years on
I
end.
know.
Years on end. Boards of the near future, basically, in the past, just a little bit in the past. Have contributed as low as $100,000, $500, I think $1 million. The big thing last year, and this is what it was, we were concerned about our budget in general, and the other thing was we made sure we reached out to our we reached out to our consultants, and when we spoke to them, it was we had a $14.7 million return.
Yeah.
And we asked them if we just deferred it from this last year just to make sure that we're okay on our budget. You guys said all of us are in this budget. Are in the pension. I've been part of this pension for 20 some years. So we would never do anything that would ever hurt the people that are receiving a pension from the county ever, first and foremost. Second of all, we made sure that our financial people said this was absolutely right. The paper really didn't learn to say that, but we knew that we could do it. And we knew that it was right, that it wouldn't hurt their pensions. So this year, we're going to make sure that we're going to be giving a contribution. We decided it probably 2 budget meetings ago, and it just didn't make it into the actual budget itself, but it's going to be decided. We're going to have another budget or 2 meetings, among ourselves, and the amount of money will be added in. So
Do you think you'll have the dollar figure for the first public meeting?
I would think.
Yeah, by then, because we'll know our health
Okay,
insurance costs.
yeah.
Because last year we got clobbered with health insurance costs.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, and we're waiting for that to come in. So
But like I said, the actuary, I'm sorry, I was losing before. The actuary is the one who actually said that we had a $14.7 million return. I said, does this hurt us? He said, Mr. O'Malley, he goes, it would be great if you could be at 100% and you could put all this money in at once. He goes, but if 78 or 81%, I forget what the number was at that time, can go and retire right the second. Do you see that happen? I said, no. He goes, you're not going to bottom out your pension. It's just not going to happen. He said, you can do that this year. And he actually, and I'm going to tell you guys that's true. He said, you could probably do it. You could do it the next year if you wanted to. We're not doing that. We're in a better financial situation this year, so we are definitely going to add some money to the pension because we're concerned for our
Yeah.
employees.
Well, I think you have a fiduciary responsibility to those employees, and so it was just a question that was going to come up since, the way it was in the paper. And I was glad to see, that it wasn't excluded from the budget, just didn't make it into the budget.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of questions to ask. And in my quick and dirty, running through the various screens on the budget, I noticed, and I got very confused, there's a new line item for the government center, okay? But then there were also all the ones for administration building, courthouse building, Jefferson
Yep.
Avenue Annex, Scranton Electric Building, and Murray Building. That's going to need some explanation, because I thought that you were going to close down much of that by the end of this year or early next year.
we're being very cautious, Joan, and we're keeping them in for 6 months, I think, right? Some of them
Okay,
are
yeah.
There's an
it just-
option, but
yeah.
we're looking. The ending we're looking at is the project. We're hoping will be done December 1st.
Yeah.
And after that, they start paying
Yeah,
us.
I was
which
just,
is- But beyond that, just to be safe, we had to be cautious.
I was hoping it was something like that, because I was saying, okay, what is this, Because you look at the numbers from 2018 to 2019, and it was like there was no government center. So I just wanted to make sure that that was what you were thinking.
Yeah.
And that the totals will be the same. They just didn't shift over to the government center, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah, no, and we're hoping that that's going to be actually a savings that we incur next year
Yeah,
when we're
so
doing our
you'll
budget
get
next year.
questions about that. Although in a way, it's nice to see the breakdown, because once it goes to the government center, it's just going to be
Exactly.
one lump sum.
Yep.
One big building, everything's aside. It's gonna be nice.
Exactly. And the last thing, just a general comment, I saw in the paper about legal fees, $500,000 for professional services / legal fees. The question's going to come up, is that going to be a one-time thing because of what's happening with the prison, or is that going to be a recurring line item going forward in the future?
Well, I think it's going to be a one-time thing because of what's happening with the prison, or is that going to be a recurring line item going forward in the future?
going to be recurring line item going forward in the future?
going to be recurring line item going forward in the future? No, we always, I asked about that last time. It's 600,000, I believe, is what we budget in that line item every year.
Yeah, it's always there.
It's always 600,000.
So it's going down to 500,000?
Did they bring it down?
That's-
Sorry.
She's trying to get the numbers for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it-
maybe I'm
no.
wrong. Maybe it's five. I thought it was
Yeah.
600,000.
The tentative 2019 budget also includes an additional $500,000 for professional services
I could
/
see
legal
that.
fees. Is that going to be a one-time increase?
I would hope so.
I would hope so, too.
I'll have to, I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to
Okay,
find
but
out.
those are the kinds of questions you're going to start hearing, so. And I'll be looking forward to seeing what those budget meeting dates are and locations. I'll be there.
Awesome.
At least when
Thank
you're
you.
here.
Okay.
Thanks for running with Commissioner O'Malley and getting him over the top there, John.
Yeah, thanks for the bottom of Cooper's Hill. A lot of fun there.
There again next year.
Thanks.
First Sunday in October.
Okay, okay. How are you?
Hi.
Name and address?
I am Beth Ann Zero. I live at 213 Chestnut Street in Dunmore. I own the Wonderstone Gallery at Dunmore Corners, and I'm also co-founder of NEPA Prison Advocates. And normally I do come and speak at the prison board meetings, but instead I want to address issues that are countywide rather than prison-wide. Perhaps you read the article in the Times about our October meeting. The article was titled "Mass Incarceration is Not the Answer." It was on page 2 the day after our October meeting. We were privileged to hear speakers from the Vera Institute of Justice as well as the ACLU of Pennsylvania. The representatives from the Vera Institute shared statistics gathered as a part of their In Our Backyards initiative that were both insightful and insightful, both with an S and with the C. Reading from a statistical handout that Vera had presented to us, it is clear that although mass incarceration is nationally at a staggering number of 2.2 million people behind bars on any given day, it was quite shocking to see where our county stands in comparison. Lackawanna County has the highest rate of incarceration per capita in the state of Pennsylvania. That is above Philadelphia, and that is above Pittsburgh.
Who came up with that?
These are statistics from Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Statistics, Annual Survey of Jails, Census of Jails, National Corrections Correction Program. So it is a combination of several different organizations that collect data such as this. The most recent is from 2015 because so much data is only gathered every 3 years or every 5 years depending on which group that it is. So the most recent numbers are from 2015.
So they're not from 16. Okay, I see what you're saying. All right.
Yes.
So
'cause
I
they
was
are
gonna say
due
they
to
are-
do another study soon.
That's nowhere near that. We've decreased our numbers in the recent years, so I mean.
We've
that-
decreased them since last year, but
Yes.
still, our rate of pre-trial jail incarceration is 57% above the national average.
I find that hard to believe.
Our overall jail incarceration rate is 118% above the national average, a number that has grown 314% between 1990 and 2015. The number from our community being held in state prisons, 26% above the national average, up 317% since 1990. The most staggering number is the number
What was
of
that
women.
number from 1990?
It was 317% since
That it went up?
1990.
Well, I can explain that very simple as a corrections officer. I'll explain that in our Commissioners' New Business for you. I'll explain that for you real quick.
The number of women incarcerated in our county jail has increased 659%. These staggering increases do not correspond with an increase in crime rates, and we still live in a relatively safe community. Meeting with representatives from the Vera Institute of Justice can help us and our elected officials better understand how our local justice system is contributing to the mass incarceration pandemic. Speaking with Professor Michael Jenkins of the University of Scranton's Criminal Justice and Sociology Department, reviewing statistics gathered by his colleagues and students, which would be more current, can give us a better understanding of why our county stands out statistically. As a county, our incarceration numbers compare with some of the deep south states, not counties, but states. We need to take a look at our community resources for mental health care. We need to look at our resources for drug and alcohol rehab. We need to consider the number of people sitting in our jail because they are too poor to pay monetary bail, not even convicted of a crime yet. How many people are in our jail because they cannot afford to pay fines or bail? We have talked month after month about the amount of overtime paid to prison employees. Warden Betty has been questioned over and over about what actions he's taking to reduce those numbers. And instead of looking to the warden, maybe we should be asking, why are there so many people in jail in Scranton, Pennsylvania? There's even an article that was written by a representative from Vera Institute, and it was titled just that, with an explanation of what he found when he did surveys in the area, trying to figure out why our numbers are statistically so much higher than other areas. And it's a study he's done countrywide. A lot of it is small towns like ours, smaller communities like ours, and rural areas that are driving that mass incarceration number higher. Why are we spending so much money on incarcerating our residents? That would be something interesting to know, and this is something the taxpayers should care about. They should care about reform. Can our tax dollars make a greater impact if geared towards mental health and rehab care? Can we offer better training for our police officers and our sheriffs? As first responders, is arrest always the answer? Are we over-prosecuting? Are we setting people up for failure with extended probations? So I'm asking you and anybody else interested to meet with people who can give us the information, people from the University of Scranton, people from the Vera Institute of Justice, and they could help us determine where our focus should be. Then we can work together as a community and stand out as a county that helped its people rather than put them behind bars. And I do understand that there has been additions added to the prison since 1990, so we have had more of a population, but they're also taking that into consideration with a lot of their statistics as to why our rate per capita and why our rate per our population is as high as it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go first.
Please do.
Okay, anything else? Okay. I'm going to give you a real quick, no, this actually, this is, yeah, and then I'll go to you, and then I'll go back to myself. We're talking about the small town coal miner community we live in and all this stuff, you know? Great area. This is a great area. I love our area. I worked as a corrections officer from 1990 for a long time, but back in 1990. And I think that young lady said it was a 300% increase from 1990. Well, I'll tell you the truth. This is what it is. People see in the paper where it'll say somebody on Myrtle Street pulled a gun. Somebody over in West Scranton sold drugs. Somebody up in Covington robbed a house. Somebody from here did this. Somebody from here did that. Now, back in 1990, the prison population was probably about 180, 250 people at the most. And they were mostly local, I'd say local yokels, but local people, right? Well, all of a sudden, we got a real influx of out-of-town influences. Philly, New Jersey, Baltimore, New York, all people, not our citizens that were born and raised here, that were coming here, selling drugs and committing crimes. And it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And I'll tell you the truth right now. Our police department is second to none in the city of Scranton. Do you know what they're required to do, and a lot of police departments aren't required to do? They're required to live inside of the boundaries of the city. So it makes them actually have a stake in what's going on in Lackawanna County and all of our small municipalities where there's different things that are going on and people that are coming into this area. We can't control exactly who comes to our community. What we're trying to do is curb the crime so that our community is as safe as it possibly can be. And if you start looking at those numbers, the problem is no one's going to understand it. It's not going to say person came from the Bronx, New York 1 month earlier, or came from Philadelphia 2 weeks earlier, or he's living with his girlfriend and he came from Baltimore. This is about a lot of influence from outside of our community that's causing these horrific, horrific crimes and shootings and things that go on. Our police department does a second to none job for what they have to do every day. And if it's about arresting people and keeping them off the streets, then that's what it has to be. Because I want my child to be able to be safe. I want my mother-in-law to go to the store and not have to worry about anything. I want to be able to go to the park and hope that no one robs my car while it's there. And I think our law enforcement and all of our municipalities does a great job, but it's not easy because we do have a lot of people from outside of our community that are committing these crimes, and that's what it is. And no one's going to hear it, and no one's going to write that. What they will write is that it was at Southside. They're not going to write previously from the Bronx, previously from here, previously from Rikers Island. You're not going to hear that stuff, but that's the fact here. Our current prison right now, we are trying and we are getting people right back on the street. So they're not there for the minimum, or someone who might not, how would I say, not have the mental capacity to know if to go meet a counselor. Counselors are reaching out to them to get them right back on the streets because we want productive citizens. But if you commit a crime here and you do something wrong here, you should be arrested. You should go to prison. Right. And listen, I'm sorry, I'm going to be totally true. I come from a family where my sister was murdered. He is in prison still. He deserves to be there. There's other people who have had crimes against them. They may deserve to be there too. But if somebody is productive and they're doing what's right to get themselves out of jail, they deserve to be let out. The other thing is this. The state cut back on us having beds up at Farview. So if we had someone who had like a mental issue, they would be, instead of going to Farview, they may be inside of our county prisons. Yep. And that's what's scary. That's scary there because they reduced the beds. You know, I worked it. I lived it. I saw the change in the prison from the people from Lackawanna County to a change from a lot of out-of-town influences. And listen, God bless whoever comes in here from out of town. But do me a favor. Be a productive citizen that's not going to be here to be involved in criminal activity. That's what it's about. I want the person who lives next door, I don't care who they are, take care of your property. Take care of your family. Take responsibility for yourself. But that's basically it. And I saw it from 1990 to when I left the prison. And I saw the change. And there is a corrections officer, a law enforcement agent that has at least 25 years in the job that won't tell you exactly what I just said. And I sugarcoated it. But that's what it is. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you giving your opinion
And this
on that.
isn't like, and it's not being mean, it's just this is what it is. And it bothers me because my sons, I know what's out there. I see what's out there. I feel what's out there. But like I said, I think we still have a great community and we work really hard to keep it safe. Our police do a great job. But like I said, it's not easy for any of them. And I'll tell you what, the most thankless job in this world is absolutely being a police officer today. It really is. And even the bad person who might get arrested for drugs the next day, there's something bad going on at his house. Do you know who they're calling that night before? They're calling the police. Yeah. Okay?
Amazing.
Even though they're committing a crime themselves maybe the next day. That's what's funny about the situation.
Yeah.
God bless the police department, our sheriff's department, law enforcement in general. Great job to all of you. Commissioner?
Yeah, there's a multitude of reasons that I can just, on my own opinion, claim to know about, and one of them is mental health.
Absolutely mental health, too.
And
drug addiction.
With the regulations that have occurred for the healthcare industry, it's basically they've tied our hands with the regulations in taking care of clients with mental health and cutting beds and all that nonsense. I mean, I've watched nursing change over the years as well. We have, many regulations in regards to challenging clients that, a lot of nurses are deathly afraid to work on some of the units because they're afraid they're going to get beat up to the point where they can't ever work again. So it's been a difficult challenge in the medical community. I've seen it firsthand, and, I've been I've been in the room with a patient that took about 7 or 8 of us just to hold down when they were in detox or anything like that. It's it's not an easy job. So some of the regulations that they did with the health communities is another reason that I think that's happening, and you're seeing more mental health cases in the prisons rather than actual prisoners. But with that said, the other issue is, and I'm going to just say it, it's illegal immigration. And that's one of the reasons that we have President Trump in office today. I'm sorry, but it is. It's got to be addressed. But in our local area, we have seen our numbers come down, and part of that can be attributed to the work that our judges and warden have done together in regards
Counselors,
to
they're all doing a good job.
the home plans that have been worked on through the committees in 2016. Those committees that we had really did bring about some
On the same page.
needed reform in our prison and judiciary, with their increased communication between departments, that's also helped, I believe, in reducing the numbers of people that are still remaining in our prison. But I know that we're down by, I believe, 177 prisoners in the county as of last meeting. Now, I don't know what's going to be at today, but I've been watching those numbers for the past 3 years, and I think that we're doing, our judges and our warden and our officers are doing a great job, and I applaud their efforts and the work that they're doing, and I'm thankful they're there to keep us safe, because God knows I need them. I get enough threats over the 1 week period that, jeez. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your work, Sheriff, and thank you all to all of our law enforcement. Joan, thanks for running with Commissioner O'Malley. I appreciate that. And sorry, I'm not a runner. I can't. Yeah, I know. I should have been. I didn't make it up there, but it was. I don't know how you people go to all these events. Well, you have like 20 events a day. You have to go from one to the other to the other to the other. It's crazy. And then you're running in the marathon. That's wow.
It was a nice day. There was no cell phones involved.
I was going to bring an oxygen tank to the dinner that night. I was.
It was good in the oxygen.
Yeah, I think you needed it. But anyway, so congratulations to you, Commissioner, and to everyone that ran. Who was the winner? Do they have a winner?
Actually, it's one of your. That's something.
Is that the girl from Riverside?
Heidi Peoples won it for the 5th time, not in a row, but over the last 10 years. So we're gonna go visit her down at your favorite elementary school.
Yes,
and
Riverside.
I'm sorry, I can't think of the person that won. I think it was actually from another country. He did it the course like I'd love to be 120 pounds for that
Jeff,
day.
who was it? Do you know?
Just for that day, 120 pounds would have been great that day.
So from the Bronx.
Yeah, but really light as well. Nice, ran perfect.
Good. Well, thanks for all your questions, Jones, and and we'll get you a copy of the budget. Anybody that wants a copy of the budget, oh, good, she's got it. We have them here, so please don't ruin your printers and ink and all that, and don't be paying for all that. We'll give it to you. You already pay enough taxes. We can provide you with a copy of the budget. It's interesting. I do watch the Scranton City Council meetings. I don't know why I torture myself, but I do. And it always comes up. I guess that's why I watch it, because they always come up and have to say something about us. It's just in them. I don't know. But the subject came up on reassessment, and I do have to say I appreciate the fact that I've been vindicated in saying that I was correct on the tax law that is so horrible in regards to our property taxes. It's not just reassessment that I disagree with. I agree with the law itself. It's very hard to manage for boroughs, counties, and cities. And one of the items that was discussed in the Scranton City Council is that they have a meeting with the property that's coming up for Mr. Basiliga is coming up for appeals. It was moved up to the 30th, and one of the council members urged Scranton to send someone to the appeals hearing to fight for the city of Scranton. I've been pushing that for over a year and telling people that the municipalities have the option to attend these, and they can go to these appeals process. and review all the information. And then they even get notified afterwards and can actually fight that appeal. And that law is right here for anyone that would like to read it. I can give that to you. But there's many ways that the boroughs and cities can fight for their taxpayers. It's not just, let's reassess. Like, that's not the all, be all, end all. There's many areas that should be happening that aren't, to protect the taxpayers from improper inequities that have occurred throughout our county. It's just that they haven't been done. So I do understand that the Abingtons, I believe, are now really, taking a look at that and showing up to their appeals hearings. And what we have done as a board is make sure that these hearings are online for all to see. And not only are the times of the hearings there, but the result of the appeals hearing is listed also. And you could check the archives. We started doing that in January of last year, I believe. So you can go back all the way to last year and see. So nobody's hiding anymore. We're very transparent. I appreciate my fellow commissioners supporting me in that, along with the fact that we have our community relations people picking up permits in the boroughs, because that was another issue that wasn't happening. The permits weren't being handed into the assessor's office, so therefore if the property added a garage or something else, we weren't getting those permits to go out and do the assessments on those properties. So that's where you have issues come up where they say, well, there was a piece of land and then all of a sudden a house was there, but nobody did anything about the assessment. Well, that's why, because the permits never came into us, and now they are. We're actually collecting them. So we are doing as much as feasibly possible to make sure that we're adhering to what the actual property tax law states. When boroughs and municipalities don't, we're trying to pick up the slack and do it by actually utilizing our own staff to pick up permits. So now that I hear a city council member saying that, yes, Commissioner Cummings was correct that they can attend these appeals process and fight for their taxpayers, I actually think it's a good day, along with the fact that we don't have a tax increase.
Good day.
So I'd like to just make note of that and hope that municipalities start to come in and attend those appeals process. If they don't agree with the result, then fight it, because they do have the opportunity to do that as well. And that would not be considered a spot assessment, because it was an actual appeal that the resident or business had requested on their own. And they're just looking for a decrease, and now they have the ability to fight that for the taxpayers. I'm not sure on the costs on that, but that's something that's, like I said, it's a bad law. The state should be looking at how we can get reimbursed for some of these costs, and they're not. They just push these laws out onto the municipalities and the counties and expect us to, take the costs of providing the services. So there you go. That's just one more unfunded mandate. The whole law is very, there's many areas that I think it's very hard to follow and hard to keep up with. And there's a lot of room for issues to occur when you're talking about transparency. And just take for example, what just recently occurred in the news with the appeals that's coming up. We are trying to be as transparent as possible here, and I think there's more to come, and we're going to be looking further into that specific issue. So thank you, everyone, and congratulations on all of our department heads and our finance team for all the work you've done since August in regards to the budgets. Special thanks also to Jermaine and Reggie, who are here, who attended all of the budget hearings and made sure that we were on track, and Tom Durkin, obviously, and there was a couple other members that...
Mary Jo
Granahan. I keep forgetting their names because they're new, so... but they're doing a great job, and I appreciate the work they're doing, and look forward to continuing to try and save the taxpayers' money and keep taxes either where they're at or decrease them one of these years. I'm hoping maybe next year when we take away those rents, Joan, that you were talking about, and all those costs that with the copiers, and there's all these other areas that we will be seeing savings from. Hopefully, we'll garner enough next year that maybe I would be able to look at convincing my fellow commissioners to decrease, I don't know, something. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Commissioner Terriani?
I'm good.
I also I didn't even think about this. Our courts are so innovative. We got drug court.
They're doing a good job.
We got drug court. We got veterans court. We have ARD. We have so many programs, and like our president, Judge Mike Barrace, is so beyond the curve. He's always looking for innovative ways, or even areas out in the prison to keep people that are from drug court and stuff like that, so that they may have a hiccup and they go to jail and they have an opportunity to get back on the streets. Like, there's a lot of options out there. It's just, I saw what happened in 1990 to now, so I understand the people that came to our community that had records that were 6 feet long that got here and all of a sudden thought that there was lambs here. The problem is we have a great police department and they are ready for it. So, but with that being said, I'd like to talk about something real quick that I've never thought about talking about, but basically was triggered today. Family structure. How about that one? Family structure. Something that our parents gave us an opportunity to have. My mom and dad were up in heaven, Gary's parents, John Sayers. We had, a lot of us had opportunities where we had good family structure, most of the people here today. Holidays, love, caring, sometimes people argue, it's part of life. But the big thing that I just get out of is the big word, responsibility. Responsibility, that's a pretty cool name, cool word. If you have a child with someone, you have responsibility until they're 18 years of age to make sure that child is taken care of as well as you possibly can. Whether you're the mom or the dad or whoever you are, and you're not even able, maybe you're not even getting along with the person who had that child. I think that when you bring a child in this world and you're part of that situation, that you should be there from the delivery room to the graduation, and if you're any type of human being, beyond that. And that's what I don't see in our world today. I just don't see it. I don't see that love. I don't see that milk of human kindness that should be out there, and it's just not. And that's a family structure. That's the structure of a good family and parents that care. And like I said, they don't have to be in the same household. They just got to make sure that they take part in their child, their responsibilities, life. That really, really, really matters. And we always talk about good things going on, like good things going on in the community, because we talk about the old times, and we want to make the old times part of the new times. Well, here's another thing that's going on that's something a part of the old times. It's going to be part of the new times. We're going to be having our marketplace at the Globe, but it's going to be on Wyoming Avenue because we're remodeling. So it's going to be on Wyoming Avenue, and it's going to be starting on Friday, December 7th, with the tree lighting on the Globe, the actual tree lighting of the Globe. I'm pretty sure it's 5 o'clock. We'll be actually shoring things up 5 to 6. We're going to have cocoa, cookies, chorus. We're going to have sing-along. We're going to have a great opportunity. We're going to have a huge tent going up Wyoming Avenue. Lots of vendors, lots of opportunities, just like we had inside the Globe. There'll be heater blowers in there, so it'll be just a great day. And so we're going to have that on Friday. It's going to be on Saturday, and it's going to be on Sunday, the 9th. So 7th, 8th, and 9th, please make it downtown. It's first Friday. The mayor told me last year he never saw so many people in downtown Scranton, even from in the heyday. We want to beat that this year. We want people parking on the other side of the Linden Street Bridge. I want this to be a great 3-day weekend. And it's a great family, wholesome fun. Please come out and enjoy it. It's going to be great 3 days. Also, something that's going to be coming up on Saturday, November 10th. That's going to be a day short of the day it should be. It's the 100th anniversary of World War II, the war that was supposed to end all wars. It didn't, but it was supposed to. And where there's going to be a celebration, remembrance, and memorial service up at Naog Park at the World War I Memorial. It's right out the back end of the Everhart Museum. And the 9/11 committee is putting it on, and they're going to be, I'm not going to say rededicating it, but we're going to be getting it refinished, the actual monuments, beautiful as the names of all the citizens that died throughout Lackawanna County. And I actually have a name of a relative that was on there who was supposed to be dead. His mother thought he was dead, and he came home and he was alive. So she had a great present a year later. So that's going to be on Saturday, November 10th, 11 a.m., Naog Park. It's probably going to be like a half-hour program. It should be very, very nice. But last but not least, and this is, the time of year, it's Halloween time. Please, to the parents, make sure you if your children are younger, make sure you go out with them, take them out in groups, reflective clothing, check their candy when you get it home, go through all of it. If it isn't wrapped, don't let them eat it. Make sure you go in areas, you know the people, and just enjoy Halloween and the fall foliage. It's just such a great time of year, and I just like to wish everyone a happy and safe Halloween. And to all our Halloweeners, be safe, look both ways, enjoy that night. It's a great day, and happy October 31st to all of them. So
Forgot
thank
about
you.
that. Watch out for the gummy bears.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh jeez. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Niteriani.
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today.